Cults can be weird. They lurk behind us without our eyes catching them. They put themselves in places with like-minded individuals. We may mistake them as just a normal group that we see daily, but just like any group, they always represent something that they believe in. This is what cults are. So, what does society think about cults? From my own research, I found out people's attitude with cults by asking someone on their thoughts.
My initial impressions of cults are that I don't mind them, but if it's like the KKK, then I'll be against them because I don't agree with what they stand for. Cults can be harmful and helpful because some cults, they stand for things that I'm against, like the KKK, and there are some cults that I don't stand for it, that can be helpful to society and stand up for what's wrong in society. I don't think it's an issue in society, but I believe that it's not talked about enough because I was unaware about cults until a few years ago. So that kind of shows that it's not a really big thing.
And why would anyone want to join a cult, you may ask? Well, there's a lot of factors. There's loneliness, depression, stressful life period, wanting to feel self-worth, brainwashed from birth with family members. These people join when they are vulnerable, and it gives cult leaders an opportunity to abuse their emotions. For a cult leader to become successful, they would need one really important trait, which is charisma. It's used to convince vulnerable people to want to join them for their own desires. Having a good image is very important as well, so that the followers would have that godlike image of the leader to be worshipped. This is important so that the cult leaders can convince their followers to be able to do literally anything, which can end in breaking the law. Lastly, a common trait is in their delusions. They hold real dedication to what they believe in, to the point where some sacrifice other aspects of their lives for their religion. These things can end quite badly for them, which also ends in breaking the law. A good example of this is of the leader of the Manson family cult in 1968, of Charles Manson.
Are you saying?
I question his, huh?
Are you saying?
Same?
Yes.
That's relative.
His intentions were to kill anyone who he thought were pigs to him with his white supremacist beliefs. For him to achieve this, he recruited members of mostly young, vulnerable females to do his bidding. One of these core members was an 18-year-old female, Susan Atkins. She was one of these cult members who joined because of her becoming homeless, and some tragic incidents including her mother's death. She was later convicted of murder in participation of 8 killings in 1968, where she was sentenced to death. One of these victims was an 8-month pregnant female actress, Sharon Tate. Yeah, it's pretty dangerous in what charisma can do.
I have worked, again, very hard to become suitable and to meet the criteria that's laid out by law. And I now meet that criteria. And that's not just my opinion, Mr. Bruckner. That's the opinion of the administration. That's the opinion of the staff doctors who are professional in determining whether or not.
Another trait with cults in general is that they like to disguise themselves as just a religious movement or just a normal group of innocent people. It's done to deceive people into joining so that it may be beneficial to them, which is why they never mention themselves as a cult, based on the image society has on them. Another story originates around the 1950s to 1970s of People's Temple by another charismatic leader of Jim Jones.
How very much I've tried to give you a good life. It's been said by the greatest prophets since time immemorial, no man takes my life from me, I lay my life down.
What made people convinced to join in is that he spoke against racism, which was a big issue back then, and attracted some African Americans and white Americans that agreed with him. In 1971, Jim Jones invited his followers to join him in Guyana, a tiny nation, to build a socialist utopia called Jonestown. Well, it didn't turn up like that because the temple members had to work long hours and were to face severe punishment if questioned his beliefs and actions. Passports were taken and letters were censored so that nobody knew his true intentions. One day, Jones realized that the authorities were after him, which on his last efforts he decided to create a mass suicide in Jonestown. The youngest were the first to die, where harmful chemicals were put in a fruit juice. Adults would then drink the harmful chemicals till everyone was dead. In total, 900 people were dead, with 300 of them were 17 or younger. Yeah, no wonder why cults are associated with this kind of stuff. As we move forward and develop as a society, so did cults, by having the online world to explore. The earliest use of the internet was in 1997 with a well-known cult, Heaven's Gate. Their website is still running as a historical event for people to look into. But after taking a look into the website, I read some weird stuff and just puzzled my brain. To summarize it, it goes into complete full detail of what the Heaven's Gate cult is. Like, there's a crazy amount of essays. It talks about their absurd belief in highly developed life forms and how angels in Christianity are part of these life forms as well. A modern example of this is from the Happy Science cult. Their website is definitely modern and looks harmless compared to the other cults I looked into. Just looking into this website, you can see that they never mention anything about cults, as they see their belief as a religion. This website demonstrates how these cults have adapted to the current world. They look more professional to the average eye and don't really give me that interpretation of a cult.
It says Heaven's Gate Away Team, and that's exactly what that means to us. We've been away and now we're going back.
After those stories I discussed, you must think that cults are horrible and should be dealt with, but after some thought, I realized that they are not as bad as you might think. Some are just groups where they want to have fun and express themselves to others, and I feel that it's unfair for them because of the small percentage of malicious cults of the past. Just like with every group in the world, they can help you or destroy you.